In today's video, I will show you how to make traditional Polish pickled cucumber soup. It's gonna be traditional cucumber pickled soup. The recipe is my mom's recipe, so it's traditional, original recipe, not too watery. It shouldn't be watery, it shouldn't be too thick, so it's perfect consistency and it's delicious. So let's get started. We're gonna start with all the ingredients you will need for traditional pickled cucumber soup, and it's my mom's recipe, so very traditional. We're using fresh ingredients in here, and the soup is the most traditional recipe you can get. So we will need one big carrot, one parsnip, one whole white onion. We'll need around 4 big potatoes, so around 1 kilogram. We'll also need sour cream. Always try to get 30%. The 30% sour cream will combine with your soup really nicely. If you use 18%, be careful, because the chances that your soup gonna not mix well and it's gonna go bad is probably 90%. Some dill, not that much, but I went to the shop and I had massive dill. Bunch of dill. So what you can do, as my mom always do, just wash your dill and then chop it and put in a plastic bag and freeze, and then you can just basically use it through the winter. So that's what I'm gonna do. I don't want to waste it, but I've got it fresh, so I'm just gonna use a little bit for a soup, and then the rest I'll freeze. Well, of course we'll need some pickled cucumbers, and there's 2 types. We've got 2 types of cucumbers. It has to be pickled one. So we've got in here, you're looking for ogórki kiszone. The second type of your cucumbers, pickled cucumbers, and they are called ogórki konserwowe. We do not want to make a pickled soup with ogórki konserwowe. It has to be ogórki kiszone. You want to be looking for the most clean ingredients. So this one got basically pickled your cucumbers, salt, some spices, black pepper, very simple, some garlic probably, simple ingredients, nothing else added. So nothing else added, nice and clean. So you want to have the most clean pickled cucumbers, which looks like this. Good quality one, and we'll be using probably half of this jar and a bit of the juices as well. So we're gonna use probably a little bit of that juices to our soup. It's gonna add nice flavor to it, nice and sour. We'll need some ribs. Those are smoked ribs, but usually what you can do, you basically go and buy. My mom using just basically bones for soup, that's what we call them. We just use bones for soups, and then she adds also some chicken stock for our soup. That's the most traditional way of doing it. I will be adding smoked ribs. So my mom said that smoked ribs are best for soups like borscht or bean soup or tomato soup. But for our pickled cucumber soup, we probably want just normal regular soup bones, which you can purchase in the shop. They didn't have any. I live in UK, so I just got smoked ribs, and that will be fine. If I'm using smoked ribs for my soup, then I'm not going to be adding chicken stock, because they've got lots of flavor. They are smoked. Okay, at the end we're gonna of course add some spices. So all we need is some black pepper. We will also need some different type of pepper, which is basically a herb pepper. It will add that nice flavor. Some salt. You have to be very careful with the salt, because this is, you know, sour soup, so you don't need to add too much salt. So you have to taste and see if you need some. And then other spices you can see in here. So that's all we need. The detailed recipe will be in first comment below the video, so you can have a look and check. Everything will be in the description below. So let's get started. Okay, we're gonna always start with 3 liters of cold water. We put into our pan. Always put it on the gas, and we're gonna add herbs. Okay, now ideally you want to have some bones for a soup. I've got in here smoked ribs, so I'm just gonna always wash it through the cold water first and then add it to our pan, to our pot. At this point we're also gonna peel and add whole parsnip. In the meantime we're gonna peel and grate our carrot. Okay, our carrot is now ready. I will show you, so either one large one or two small ones. We want to grate it on this side, so they are quite large. Our carrot we're gonna add once this starts boil, 15 minutes from the boiling point, we're gonna add carrots. In the meantime we're gonna peel and cut our potatoes in square pieces. I will show you. Okay, our potatoes are ready. We have cut them, we try to cut them kind of the same size so they can cook the same, not small pieces and big one. And another important thing is what we're gonna do now. We're just gonna put some cold water up to the top to cover them, just about to cover them, so they won't go black in color if you leave them like this, and they're gonna be standing on its own. So we're gonna cover them with the cold water now while we're waiting. Okay, we've got our carrot ready, our potatoes, and now we're gonna get our onion peeled and we're gonna chop it in small, finely chop it basically. Our onions clean, peeled, and now we're gonna finely chop it. This is how we want to chop our onion for a soup. Now time for pickled cucumbers. A good tip from my sister: if you do have kids, I would recommend it just to use pickled cucumbers around 6, so half of that jar. If you do have kids, don't use that vinegar water from the jar. Get them used to eating cucumber soup first, and then start adding the cucumber water to your soup. But at the beginning I would do it without that, so just cucumbers. For now, around 6, half of a jar. But if you want to make it traditional and you're making it for adults who obviously used to the taste and you want to make it really traditional, you can add a little bit of water, cucumber water as well. If you're making it for kids, definitely I would say leave it out and just use cucumbers only. Okay, as you can see in here, our water started to boil. You can see in here. So 15 minutes from the start point of boiling, we're gonna add our carrot. We've got around half of a jar in here, so about what, 7 cucumbers? 7 pickled cucumbers. Pickled cucumber, we're gonna use the same grater, so this one, the same one which we used for our carrots. So we're gonna grate them all now. Okay, this is how much we've got out of those cucumbers, pickled cucumbers. As you can see in here, the juice came out of the cucumbers as well, so we're gonna use that and add to the soup as well, all of it. Okay, as you can see in here, dill, I've got probably 1 kilogram of dill in here, so it's massive amount of dill. I don't need that much, so I'm gonna chop a little bit for our cucumber soup, and rest I'm gonna chop and store in a plastic bag in a freezer, and then in the winter it's pretty handy. You can basically take out a little bit and put a little bit on top of the potatoes. That's how we serve it in Poland. This amount of dough should be enough, should be sufficient. But remember, if you do have kids, I would make it without, as they don't particularly like herbs. And then once they get used to eating cucumber soup or any soup, you can add some fresh herbs like dill and see if they like. Our soup, from starting to boil until now, it was cooking for around 15 minutes. Now it's time to add our carrot. Okay, we have added our carrots and our meat was in for around 15 minutes. Now we're gonna cook it for another 15 minutes, so in total 30 minutes we'll be cooking our meat bones, soup bones, and the best is probably, it depends on the bones and ribs. We're gonna use it with a fork after 30 minutes of total cooking time of your bones and ribs. We're gonna take a little piece out and see if it's fully cooked. If it is, probably gonna be about 30-40 minutes. We'll take it out. Good time to fry your onion, ideally on a really good quality fat. I don't have it, so I'll have to fry it on the oil. So we're gonna fry it until golden. Okay, our onion is nice and golden brown, and as you can see here, oil has soaked up. The onion has soaked up our oil, so we're gonna throw that all in once our meat is cooked. Okay, now it's been 30 minutes, so we're gonna try with a fork, take a little bit meat out from our ribs and check if it's cooked. If it is, we're gonna take it out completely, all of it. If it's not, usually 30-40 minutes total should be cooked. It depends on obviously the bones or ribs you're using, but make sure they are cooked. So take it out with a fork, check if it's cooked, and take everything out, and I will show you what to do next. Okay, we took our meat out. We're gonna get rid of the bone and keep just the meat. In the meantime, to the soup, we're gonna add our our onion straight in. And if you're using just normal ribs, not normal bones for a soup, not smoked one, this is a good time to add some chicken stock. I'm not gonna add chicken stock because I've got obviously smoked ribs in here, so they've got lots of flavor. Our soup we always cook without cover all the way through. Okay, now it's perfect time to add our potatoes. Obviously we got rid of the water, so we've got just potatoes here. It's perfect because our soup went a little bit lower now because we took all the bones. So it's we can basically decide how much potato we need to add in to make sure our soup is not too watery and not too thick. So we're gonna add them in slowly and then stir it with a spoon to see how thick, how thin your soup is. Okay, I have added about 800 grams of potatoes, and we're gonna be, this is how thick the soup is, how you want it, this is perfect consistency, and we're gonna be boiling them for around 10 minutes, and then we're gonna check it. You want them nearly cooked through all the way. Once you add a cucumber, pickled cucumber, that will stop potatoes to cook. So you need to make sure that they're nearly done before you add pickled cucumbers. So just be aware of that. So around 10-15 minutes top, and they will finish boiling. They will be quite soft. So we're cooking it now for another 10-15 minutes. Okay, now this is a meat from my ribs, so we're gonna add it straight back to the soup. And make sure you don't add any bones because kids not gonna eat it, so get rid of the bones. Just a pure meat, rib meat basically, and no fatty bits because kids won't eat that. Okay, our potatoes are nearly done, so very nearly soft, completely cooked through. Now we're gonna add pickled cucumbers, and we're gonna cook them for no more than 10 minutes, around 10 minutes time. Okay, as I mentioned before, if you're making this very traditional, not for kids, for yourself, and you wanted to recreate very traditional Polish cucumber pickled soup, add a little bit, maybe half glass of that cucumber vinegar from the jar. If you're making it for kids, I wouldn't recommend it, just leave it because it will add that sour taste to your soup. So for a kid, just do it without. Will be as nice. If you've got 30% sour cream, you just put that straight into the soup. If you've got 18%, you have to make it with flour. So what we've got in here, in a bowl, get 1 tablespoon of flour, add a little bit, like 1 tablespoon of cold water, mix it together, then add a bit of sour cream, 18%, and a bit of soup and mix it all together before adding to the rest of the soup. And that way your cream will mix up with your soup perfectly. If you've got 30%, just add it straight to the soup and it will mix perfectly. 30% is thicker and it will be fine. Okay, now after 10 minutes our cucumbers, pickled cucumbers are cooked. We're gonna add either 30% straight in sour cream, or as I showed you in here, we've got a mixture with a flour. We're gonna add in here, I've got 18% in here, straight in. And we're gonna cook for another 5 minutes. Now we're gonna add some freshly black pepper and herb pepper. So it's called pieprz ziołowy. Really gonna add nice taste to your soup. So pieprz ziołowy, black pepper, and some salt. With the salt you have to be careful because it's a sour soup, so you have to taste it and add salt. Taste and add more. It's better to add more than add too much and it's gonna be too salty. You don't want a too salty soup. So we're gonna add now our soup. We're not cooking, around 10 minutes top with our cream, no longer than that. And now we're gonna turn off the gas and add dill, and it's ready. Okay, our soup is quite, it's not watery, as you can see here. It should be like this in consistency, and it's really good for 2 days, including the day when you cook it. So today we've got Saturday, so Saturday, Sunday will be delicious. I wouldn't recommend to eat it on Monday. So this is type of a soup which you want to eat within 2 days. Okay, pickled cucumber soup is now ready. This is how it's look like. This is very traditional cucumber soup. As you can see here, it's not watery, it's not too thick, it's perfect traditional pickled cucumber soup. Highly recommend, enjoy it.